It said it's 5 minutes ago. Thank you for the follow, Wolfie. I hate Twitch so much. You guys, thank you. Hey, let me move everybody over one by one real quick so you guys can listen in. Oh gosh, I've just moved the whole lesson waiting room. I can handle Discord. It's totally fine. If you guys have any questions or anything, the voice acting Discord. Oh, we got Derek. Bam. Everybody's jumping in real quick. Let me grab you guys the link for that because I know the link for that is expired. What are you guys doing? I've missed you guys so much. I hope you know that. I really have. All right, so if you guys want to join in, that's the Discord. For those of you in the Discord, you're currently muted, so they cannot hear you on stream. I'm going to kind of go through everything, and then I'm going to end the stream so that those of you who have questions, if you're nervous about posting a question on the internet or talking on the internet, that doesn't stop you from asking questions. And then if you guys have any questions that pop up and you want to ask them, the last 15 minutes or so of this, oh my God, what? You guys, we're ending May so sweetly. Thank you. Oh, we have one more day. That's right. No regrets. But if you guys want to ask questions, jump on over. For my Discord people, once I get started on this, I will mute so you guys can watch it over here and not have the double feedback because I know that's annoying. If you end up not having any questions and you want to bounce out, it will not hurt my feelings because I know I'm doing the same thing on Twitch as over here. Here just gives you a section to ask questions at the end. Oh my God, Mystical Gamer. I would probably do so, yeah. So let's get started, and if I miss anything or anything, I'll try and go back before I end the stream. Thank everybody properly, because y'all are amazing, and we're already a level 2 hype train, and I just woke up from a nap. You can't make me cry, okay? It's good. It will happen. That's what I mean. Like, I'm too sensitive, y'all. I'm too sensitive. I've been off Twitch too long. I've forgotten the kindness that you all bring over here. All right, so let's get started with this. I don't know if this will take the full hour. I put the full hour there because I talk a lot. People, or some of you are probably already picking up on that. So surprise, voice actress talks. It's front page news. But I put an hour here just so I have it. I'm not going to waste your guys' time. I'm not going to put in a bunch of filler info. I've got an outline here that I want to cover. I'm going to cover that outline, and then I'm going to address questions if you guys got any. So let me mute up, and I'll get started over here. Bam. Chat took that as a challenge. Momo, I missed you. This is a late night stream, so it should be possible for you to make it, huh? I didn't think about that. I don't think, though. Nobody's surprised. So I'm going to cover a couple things in tonight. It's not today. It's tonight's conversation about script analysis. In the next 30 minutes, 40 minutes, hour, however long this takes, I want to cover why it can help you as a voice actor. And I'm going to address you like you are either somebody interested in voice acting, a voice actor already, be that from starting off completely new to maybe you've booked some professional roles. I'm just going to address you like that. And then maybe you're not. Maybe you're just like, hey, I'm bored. It's a Sunday night. What's Rachel doing on the internet? It's a good question. I don't know. I'm not going to cover how to go into script analysis. That's another class that I am teaching this month. So if you're interested in that, I will link it in the chat. I'll link it in the Discord. I think it went out in the monthly email list already. And I'll also, in the YouTube video, I will link the list. So if you want to sign up. But again, Discord is the best way to find out when the classes are going live. I tend to post it there first, and so a lot of the classes do sell out on the Discord. And if you are on the Discord, just make sure you have your notifications on. I feel, thank you for the follow. I get so distracted. I feel this is an underused and neglected technique to voice actors. I think most stage actors are taught at some point to do script analysis, whether you go my route, which is I got a bachelor's degree in theater performance. If you go that route, they make you take script analysis classes. But a lot of things on the internet and, oh my gosh, 2 follows. Thank you guys. a lot of things on the internet side of things, which is where most of the voice acting world is currently, it doesn't give you an exact outline of here's where to go. And I actually find that's kind of really helpful. As weird as it is, there's so many avenues to get into voice acting. So there's no, this is the exact way you need to go. You can go any kind of way you want and create the career that you want to create. But I do feel that this is kind of underused and neglected. And my point of this whole convo class thingamabob is to tell you why it does matter. Because I noticed that a lot of actors push it off. They think, oh, I don't need to use this yet. Whether it's intimidated by script analysis, because it can be, oh my gosh, you guys, thank you for the follows. Whether it's intimidated by, I gotta stay focused. Whether it's intimidated by the giant question that is script analysis, all the different ways that it can be approached. And it's not even just, my way. There are tons of ways out there. I'm going to talk about the script analysis techniques that I like to use specifically as a voice actor. There are other script analysis techniques out there. The more information you know, the more you know. And that's just science. So consider that. This is why I shouldn't be allowed on the internet. No matter what stage you're at in your career, whether you're just getting started in voice acting, just kind of being interested in it, or a professional, I'm going to bring up a few examples of forms of script analysis for you guys, when you can use it, and then reasons why I think actors think they don't need it, why they push it back to later in their career, how that can sometimes hurt their career. And essentially, my goal from the end of this is to make you guys start looking up script analysis and have a blast with it. Now, I'm going to cover some types of script analysis that I cover in the class. I break this down into writing script analysis, written script analysis, and performance script analysis. Now I'm going to give you 2 examples just out of them because I don't want to be here all day. But I'm going to give you 2 examples real quick. And if you find them interesting, then, thank you. Sweet Kicks is moving everybody over for me. If you find them interesting, please research the others. It's kind of just to help you be inspired about script analysis. So performance script analysis. This is where you use the words written in the script. Shocker. Where you use the words written in the script to influence your performance in a sense of you get to work with the script. So an example, because I'm terrible at explaining how this one works, so I'm going to use an example. You are given a script, and it's a generic script. It's to be or not to be, that is the question. That's your whole monologue, and you got to perform it a couple different ways. You got to perform it as a villain. You got to perform it as a hero. You got to perform it as a werewolf. You got to perform it as a chupacabra. I don't know. And so you're looking at this script, and it's the same text, but you're applying your performance onto it, applying your character. Thank you for the follow. And so that's where I talk about performance script analysis. It's nothing really that you perceive from the text, but rather something you project onto the text to get that character. Things, and if you've taken private lessons with me, you know that I've talked about this, things that are performance script analysis: emphasis, word inflection and sentence inflection, rhythm and tempo of a performance, sound dragging, which is a method I talk about in private lessons, tactic changes, dynamics, volume dynamics, texture dynamics in voice. This is whether you're whispering, whether you're growling, whether you're yelling, those types of things. Now, where this can be applicable to a voice actor is, let's say you are the main villain. We'll put this in a cartoony kind of world. And you're the main villain, but you're pretending to be a shopkeeper. And the hero comes in, and you've got to try and convince this hero to buy this cursed object. And you need to perform these lines that are something like, "Hello, how can I help you today? Thank you for coming into the store." Lines that are not inherently malicious. And give them some kind of vibe that tells the audience, hey, I don't think I trust this character. I think there's something off here about this shopkeep. I don't know, call me crazy. I'm not vibing with this shopkeep right now. I'm getting some weird vibes. That's where you can take your performance script analysis and apply it to where you can take those same words and use them to change it, to give off, okay, this is a villainous type of read, or maybe you need to do something that's friendly, maybe you need to do something that's sarcastic, etc. Now, written script analysis is going to be sound positioning, is going to be vowels and consonants, and sound positioning also can double up in the performance thing. I'll talk about that. That's one of my examples. Vowels and consonant use, another one of my examples. Word choices and tactic choices. So, this is the opposite, where we were talking about we are projecting onto a script. Now we are perceiving from the script. I'll talk about where this situation comes. Oh my gosh, Brittany, I got you. I see those points redeemed. Oh goodness, this is recorded too. Brittany making it rain over here. Now I'll talk about writing script analysis and where that's useful specifically in booking jobs and getting work, interpreting auditions, etc. So first, let's talk about sound positioning, the one that kind of doubles up in both. If you guys have taken any voice classes with me, where I talk about the actual voice, where I talk about where the voice resonates from in the body, you've probably, or especially the performance practice course, I'll talk about character types. These are certain heroes, these are certain villains, these are certain monsters, and I will talk about where you tend to hear that voice placed at. An example of this is if I say werewolf to you, or if I say zombie, or if I say ghost, or say dragon. Monsters are probably the easiest one to use. Immediately, certain voices pop up in your head. When you think of ghost, you probably think of very breathy, drawn out, hollow type of delivery. When you think of dragon, you may think of pride, you may think of grit and texture to the voice, you may think of snarls. You think of werewolf, you probably have a much deeper voice, a lot of spit, a lot of phlegm used in the voice, and I gave another one. Oh, zombies. Zombies change all the time, but most of the time you get kind of that inhuman, animalistic type of sound. I forgot to put my phone on silent. It's just dinging me about the class. Did you remember you have a class? I do. Thank you, phone. Inhuman type of sound that tends to be short words. You don't hear a zombie given the to be or not to be speech very often. Maybe. I would probably listen to that, quite honestly. So, these are kind of voice types that we hear a lot portrayed. We've hopefully, and if you have, I'm going to urge this as strongly as possible. If you have heard a dragon, I need you to email me at Rachael@rachelmesser.com. Because I need to know about this dragon. I love dragons. I want a pet dragon. I'm basically Hagrid. Nobody's probably surprised at the amount of pets I have. So, but probably, I'm going to hedge my bets here. You haven't heard a dragon. You haven't heard a zombie. You haven't heard, maybe you've heard a ghost, I don't know. And you haven't heard a werewolf. But immediately things just pop up in your head that think of these voices. Now with that comes some level of sound positioning. Dragons tend to be placed more in the chest voice. They tend to have a lot of resonance and power behind them as well as an attitude change. So it's not just the voice, but also the acting style changes along with it. But you think of certain sounds and certain placements and it can reflect it. Now it doesn't have to be that extreme. Sometimes, and I would challenge you to listen to any, I'll say dub, but I bet you the original sub does this as well, anime, where you have a general anime protagonist. And I bet you they tend to talk near the front of their mouth. There's a lot of bubbliness up here, a lot of bright. The voice kind of projects out. And there's actually a psychology to where that voice is currently placed. Somebody who smiles a lot, the voice just naturally moves up there a lot of the time. And so if you are a very bubbly person, there's a chance that your voice is very forward in the mouth. It may be higher pitched. And even if you take the smile away, the voice still kind of sounds here. Now I'm getting to like borderline Moji type of thing. But Moji's a lot more nasally. So that's kind of some psychology. You also get the chest voice. A voice that's placed lower tends to be somebody who has either authority. This can be a character that is a warrior, a fighter. This can be a parent. This can be anybody who, and you can even hear a little bit of diction change coming with this. The voice is a lot more settled. It's a lot more even paced versus being kind of sporadic and quick. And this is where, especially I've worked with some actresses who are trying to voice guy voices. And, thank you for the follow. Sometimes, or just generally, this is another two common issues I run into with private lessons. Somebody's trying to change their voice. It can be a guy trying to do a girl voice or a girl trying to do a guy voice. And they go, I just sound like me putting on a voice. And that also goes into some other stuff where other people go, I'm trying to do a higher pitch voice, but I still sound like me. Or trying to do a lower pitch voice, but I still sound like me. That's where you get speech pattern changes. And I love working with actors on speech pattern changes. It's one of the biggest differences you can have in your performance. And that's why there are some voice actors out there who use the same voice, but can sound drastically different, is those speech pattern changes. I think you get this probably the most obvious where the voice is the same, but how the lines are delivered is different, is... oh gosh, my poor brain is always like H. John Benjamin or John H. Benjamin. Chat will help me, I'm sure. But or comments of the YouTube videos. Somebody will get it for me. But my brain is always like, it's one or the other, and it reverses it. Where you take Archer and you take Bob's from Bob's Burgers, same voice, but delivered completely different. The speech pattern has changed. And so, H. John Benjamin, thank you, Momo. And so that's a great example of it. But sound positioning, if you have a voice that is higher pitched and very front of the mouth, it's probably going to sound very bubbly, and that's going to be associated with certain characters. Now, where do we bring in script analysis from this? Because currently, Rachael has been off having her own little fun in what the hell we're talking about performance aspect. Let's bring this tangent back to the script writing part of it. There is, and this goes with vowels and consonant as well. And I said I was going to use 2 examples. I'm sorry, I'm going to give you more examples, but it's just more education and more info. What you do with this script is, let's say you have the to be or not to be speech. In fact, Shakespeare is a great example of where you can use this. Get rid of all the consonants and just highlight the vowels and highlight the sounds. Sometimes you will hear that there's certain sounds, and I've talked about this with a few actors. I'll try and post this image I'm trying to remember like a phrase to tell you guys to look up or something to help you find it, but I'll try and post it in the Discord later tonight when I upload this on YouTube. I'll try and post this, a link to it or something in the description box. But when we make certain sounds, example, E, I, A, tend to be either in the middle of the mouth, which is around your hard palate, or move up to the front. O's, uhs, aw actually moves more into the back of the mouth, but ooh and tend to sink into the chest. I wish I had that list up in front of me to let you guys know, but I have it somewhere. I just didn't expect me to go this much into a tangent. So that's kind of, those sounds can give you a feel for your character. If you're noticing a lot of oohs and uhs, there's a good chance that your character is placed in the chest. Now you have to look at, okay, what kind of character is placed in the chest? I can start to analyze this. If you're a lot of E's, a lot of I's, good chance they're probably more at the forward part of the mouth. What kind of characters are addressed there? And we've covered both of these so far. So you can start to go, all right, it's not a hard, fast rule, but it gives you guidance. Now, let's talk about another form of this, which is Greek tragedies. Something that doesn't get brought up a lot in voice acting. Let's talk about Greek tragedies for a second. There tends to be a lot of death in Greek tragedies. Spoiler alert. Sometimes people die, but on stage, but most of the time it's just like so-and-so walked up and is like, by the way, dude's dead. And this is a shock to some people. Now, with certain Greek tragedies, the person on stage already knew they were dead. They were like, just lamenting over it. They were worried about it. And so somebody coming in saying, by the way, so-and-so is dead. Mentally, they've already kind of processed this. They've been preparing themselves for this this moment. And so when they grieve, you'll see a lot of people clutching at their stomach, bending over, and this tends to have a sound with it. And you can actually sometimes break down it depends on translation. You can break down text and go, there's a lot of oohs, a lot of uhs here. This is somebody who is emotionally handling this grief. Versus if it's shock, if somebody was just going about their day and they're like, by the way, so sorry, so-and-so's dead. This is quite the shock to them. So you'll actually see, and you can actually kind of figure out if we have stress where people with stress, they tend to be, clutching their head a lot of time. But this is a mental anguish, covering the forehead, covering the eyes, sometimes this, pulling at hair, touching temples, etc. This tends to be, I cannot mentally process what is going on. Which is why half the time when y'all break me in chat, I end up doing this, is like mentally, I'm like, why are you guys doing this? But so when you look at somebody who is truly processing shock, whether it be good shock or bad shock, when it is something like emotionally happy, there tends to be a lot of the stomach work. And when it is mentally happy, a lot of forehead. Sometimes you see this type of thing. And then also with grief, obviously. So you can look at the vowels and see where is your character emotionally at? How did they emotionally handle that news? If so-and-so has died on a quest and they found it out, you can start to break down the text and go, how did they handle this? How should I, as an actor, guide this performance? Especially when you get into situations where, let's say it's anime dubbing, where maybe you don't know what the next episode... Sorry, I have a ghost, and he likes to do things. 1 second. Hi, ghost. Everybody say hi, Rachel's ghost. He likes to play with lights. I'd like to point out he didn't play with the lights all yesterday, and that light was doing fine. He was just like, grief, man. I can't handle it. Go back to talking about ghost voice. I want to know how to do it. Where's my broadcast thing? Hold up. There we go. I am space now! This ghost be like, this is getting lit. I'm about this. No, you have to turn this knob to make it brighter. There's not like a button. Okay. Wait, no, it's too bright. It's been a bit. Hi, Ghost. Right, Wood? It's been a while since my ghost played with lights. He, if you haven't noticed, there's only a few of these up here. He threw them down. It's still too bright. Oh, my goodness. See, I told you guys this may take an hour. I wasn't expecting the ghost aspect of it, though. Okay, we're back. So you can kind of break down the vowels and see how do you need to take this if you're working with anime or something where maybe you don't know where the next episode's going. Sweet too, thank you. If you don't know where the next episode's going, this kind of can give you a clue of, all right, how should my character take this? Because if they're going to be in mental anguish for the next 2 episodes, I need to know. If they're going to be in emotional anguish, I need to know. Also, just change the... I give up. There'll be no light. Okay? I don't want to look like a ghost. Thank you, though. Yeah, it's fine. Change the whole temperature of it. Consonants is another one where you can apply the consonants to it and see if there's a bunch of T's, D's. These tend to be very frontal dental sounds versus fricatives. Fricatives tend to be frustration. That's why you have frustration. But you get also maybe a lot of S's, a lot of Z's, B's, L's. All of these have a similar connotation to the way we've been talking about just E's and I's, A's, etc. Ahs, oohs, yeah. Now, throughout this thing... Can you please turn your head to the right? I'm drawing your head. Sure. This is called, this is a special stylized look right here. It's called My Dog Has Chewed Up This Thing, this hair clip. But I'm still wearing it, okay? Anyone with a dog owner understands this struggle. If your dog eats your shoe, but it's like, yeah, she really just tore up the shoelaces. You're like, yeah. And my dog's a puppy, so... You're right. Is that your left? No, this is my right. Everything's probably different. I have my didgeridoo over here. I haven't played my didgeridoo in a while. What? Thank you. So, when should you use script analysis? Firstly, auditions going to be a big part of this. I'm sure for those of you who have been voice acting, you've run into an audition that does not cover anything about your character. Example, I was once at an anime audition where I was auditioning for the main character. And I don't remember the actual plot. And this is partly like a plot that my brain has filled in the gaps for because this was like 8 years ago. And then partly some of this was like, I remember like little bits of it were true from this audition. And it was the main character. And I want to say this was actually like a guy character. I don't remember. That's how little I remember about this. And being nervous as hell. It was one of my first auditions. And so like brain does not work good under stress. But it was like so-and-so is a 17-year-old high school student who's just trying to get into a good college when suddenly robots from space come down and start attacking Japan. And as the leader of the mech club, they have to be able to find a way to fight these alien robots. Will they be able to do so and still get into a good college? That's the point of the show. And yet, that point of the show was the character's description. So when you're a voice actor and that's what you're given, you're like, cool, I don't know what the fuck to do with this. I don't know how to handle this. And that's part of where script analysis comes in, as well as especially with anime. And I do have some classes on this where you break down art style, and the art can give you some clues as well as some of the body language within that art. And sometimes you are lucky enough to be able to look up a show and find an episode or two where it's already dubbed and see what the original voice actor was doing. But sometimes we're not that lucky. Sometimes these are Twitter auditions. Sometimes these are casting call club auditions. Sometimes these are Discord auditions. And so you don't have enough information to build from the character. That's where you can look at the character lines and figure out, what can I do with this? Now, some auditions are intentionally vague. And I'll get to this when I talk about where actors can... I've got this own little section over here, but I'm going to talk about it in case Brain forgets. Some directors will make auditions intentionally vague to see what an actor does with them. To see if given nothing, can you create something with it? Or when it's kind of like you're given a blank canvas and like 2 shades of paint, and they say, make me a picture. You're like, I would really love more colors to paint with here, but since you only gave me red and blue, let's see what I can mix together here and maybe get some purple, or maybe, do this, and what can you create with limited information? Sometimes it genuinely is a test to see where you're kind of at in your acting ability. That's why I don't think it's a good idea to wait too long to use this. You don't want to be in a situation where that's a test and you end up failing it. Let me double check where I'm at in my thing, because now I'm jumping all around. There can be sometimes moments where the script isn't written to fit your character very well, or it doesn't carry your character very well. I'm sure some of you have experienced this if you've been recording, that it says, this line is said sarcastic, or this line is said... There's a couple lines I've been recording this week where I was like, I want to do something with this line. I want to make some part of this line interesting. And I need to break it down. And so I would use script analysis and go, all right, how can I make this line that seems so very descriptive? It wasn't very much like a reactionary line. It was more of, I am describing the very thing going on currently. And the very thing going on currently is food being delivered. And so you're like, this is not a very high-stakes situation. But I want to make it interesting so that the person listening to this voiceover feels like it's interesting. And so you can start to use script analysis a little bit to find ways that still fit within that realm to amplify the performance. You can also use this to give a bit of foreshadowing for it. We talked a little bit about this, where I talked about maybe your character is going to have some terrible news delivered, and if you can see how they... featuring motorcycle if it's picking it up. You can see how they're going to handle it, and you can foreshadow that kind of thing. If your character's going to go into shock with it, or if they're going to kind of process it a bit faster. These are all things you can handle from the script. Now, do I talk about this in the second? I do. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. This can also help you get a better understanding for your character when it's used. It can help you as the actor. This isn't talking about necessarily performance as much, but if you are somebody who struggles with, how do I connect with this character? How do I feel very bored with the character I'm playing. How do I make this more interesting? How do I feel more attached to this character? Especially sometimes when given very blandish scripts. You can use script analysis to make it far more interesting to you. And with that, you will also have moments where, because you are adding normally your own reactions to things, you'll start to see more of yourself into that character and start to connect a little bit more with them. This also can give a better connection to the audience. So if you've taken any of my classes about comedy and drama, or if you've taken the performance practice course class, I've talked about this a little bit before, where when you are, specifically with drama, trying to connect with an audience, and you're trying to connect with an audience with comedy too. That's why a lot of great comedians are very versatile in the styles of comedy they deliver. But specifically with drama, I feel like that one kind of gets, more often than not now, shoved under. Nobody's paying attention to it. And there are certain character types that you may connect to. You may connect to the character who is under a lot of pressure, and they're still pushing through it. They're still keeping a positive attitude, and they're still hopeful. Maybe you connect to the character who is very jaded and emotionally just done with all of this, and it's because they've been hurt in the past, and now they've created this wall and this shell so that nobody else can talk to them. Maybe it's a character who is very open with their emotions, and they fall apart easily, and anything can shake them. And when you feel very emotional or very vulnerable, you may respond to those moments. I love to source this show. Sailor Moon does a great example of displaying a lot of different ways to make the main character relatable to a wide variety of audience. At the start of the show, she's very crybaby, very whiny, doesn't want to do this, and falls apart very easily. Over time, especially when, I'm not going to give spoiler alerts because I would love for you guys to watch the show, including the last season. A lot of people kind of just forget about the last season, but I cried so much during that one. She starts off as very reluctant, scared. There's a lot of things where you can connect to that type of character, because probably a lot of us have been in that situation. And as the show progresses, she becomes somebody who is more afraid of losing others. There's like a little mosquito in here or something. She becomes more afraid of losing others than she is worried about herself, where it starts off kind of more worried about herself. And then finally at the end of the show, she is trying to pretend to be okay for a large part of the last season when she's not. And putting on this act so that others aren't worried about her, and she doesn't want to bother anybody. And throughout most of the show, there are these moments where you can connect to her as a character, because there's a good chance at some point in your life you have gone through one of those moments. And this makes her relatable to a wider audience, versus if she were just to only, I'm going to source another show that some of you probably know I love to source, Supernatural. Sam in Supernatural bugs the hell out of me. So much so. Because through most of the show, he's like, why me? Why me? Why me? And he's whiny. And when he's not whiny, he's just ununderstandably angry through a lot of it, where he's just like charging headfirst into things angry. And you're like, just stop and think about it for a second. Versus I tend to really like Dean and Castiel a lot more. And they have moments where they tend to care about other. Benny. Oh my God, Benny. If you guys haven't watched Supernatural, Benny has my soul. And so these characters that, part of this also has to do with empathy. A character who shows empathy tends to invoke empathy. And so a character who is trying to not show others that they're hurt, not bother others, maybe put up a front for others and their well-being. We as audience members tend to know that feeling, and we empathize with that character. We also sympathize with them, which they're two different things. But you can empathize with something, which means you see yourself in that situation, and sympathize, which, depending on definition, you get where you haven't been in that situation before, but you can see yourself in that situation. Or sometimes you haven't been in that exact situation, but you can relate to that. And so when I talk about script analysis, when you can decide, okay, I don't want to, and to be clear, I don't think it's the actor who plays Sam's fault that Sam's a whiny little bitch. But I think that's kind of how the show is written. So when you're using script analysis, you can add more variety to your character and more emotion, more moments, so that it's more relatable to a wider audience and people may like your character more. Now, the final little bit, why some actors mistakenly don't use this, or they think they don't need to study script analysis till later. Many auditions, going back to it, are intentionally vague to see what the actor has done. I frequently coach auditions where people will bring in an audition and they'll say, I want to do the best thing possible. How can I do this? And they tend to go through them with audition technique, which is another thing. And I say, all right, while we're going through this script or through this audition, let me teach you how you can do this on your own. While we're going through this, let me teach you what you need to look for, how you need to do it, etc. Some auditions are intentionally vague, and sometimes they put lines that are intentionally vague because they want to hear, if you run into moments where in your show, for some reason, you have to talk about food being delivered, you can make it interesting versus being very flat and generic and unsure of where to go. Plus, some directors do not want to micro-direct. They do not want to coach you every second of the way. And this is why in some auditions I tell people it's better to go big and make a choice than sit in your head and go, what does the director want? What does the director want? What does the director want? Because you're never going to be able to get that unless you straight up ask the director. But a lot of the time you'll run into directors who cast you because they know how your style is, ways you're going to perform a character, and apply those to it. Seppi, thank you. So sometimes they will leave it vague to see, are you going to do anything with it? Here's this blank canvas. Are you going to say, I don't have enough paint to paint? Or are you creative enough to still try and paint a picture anyway? Now, another part of this is I went into audition once, and the director had three sides. And one of them was for the main ingenue character with very main ingenue type lines. She was very shy, and so it was something like, I can't fight. There's no way I can handle this. And, lines like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. That sounds amazing. And the director said, hey, there's this other character I really want you to audition for. I think you'd I think you'd be able to handle this character, but I don't have sides for them. In fact, I kind of just remembered that they're in this episode. It's episode like whatever. But she's like the classic high school bully. Very, very snooty, very snobbish. But since I don't have a script for her, just go ahead and use the main ingenue script. And so with that, I have to, one, switch up a character type that I'd already performed as one thing on the spot. And then two, I have to take lines that are not written necessarily as snooty. So one of those lines was very easy to do. Something like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. That sounds great. It's very easy to make asshole. Oh my gosh, that's so great for you. I am so happy. I bet that's wonderful. It's very easy to make that one. But something like, I'm not going to fight you. I don't know how, requires a little bit more work with it. So sometimes there are moments where you're going to be put on your feet and you need to understand character type. You need to understand the script analysis that comes with that character type to apply it. Now, while some actors think that this skill is more something you acquire later on in your career, they tend to also think, I can get by with auditions alone. I can get by with the description, even if it's vague. It still holds back your performance. I kind of think of it like playing music. If you can play music by ear, that's wonderful. But what about the situations you may run into where you don't get to hear the performance first, where you don't get time and somebody just puts sheet music in front of you? You need to be able to know how to read that sheet music. That's essentially what we're doing here with our performance. It's being able to be on those spots where this is what I need to apply right now. And because of this situation, you don't get to hear the music first. And so this is where maybe somebody just throws some buzzwords at you, which is another thing of audition technique and taking direction, where they'll throw words like, I was working with some actor on commercials today. So it'd be like warm, friendly, casual. And you need to understand, how do I apply these to a commercial read? That's part of the direction analysis. Another thing is auditioning with the guidelines. This is where you go, okay, I've got the direction. I've got the little bit of notes that they gave me. So why don't I do it? Maybe you've even booked roles from it before. Will you get roles? Yes, you can get roles based off the little description possible. But think about where you are auditioning for something that may have hundreds to thousands of different actors applying. Chances are some of those actors are using the technique of script analysis, which is going to bump them up further. If your performance was already at a 7, it may bump it up to a 9 or a 10. Why would you go into an audition without all the skills ready for that audition? Why would you go into an audition situation, whether it be in person, when we start doing more in-person auditions again, or it be online, and not have all the skills handy? Maybe you don't need all those skills at the moment, but they can help. And so why be caught off guard without them, especially when you know some actors some directors may be testing you with things. They may want to hear if you can add that to them. There may be moments where you need to think on your feet. I don't want any actor getting caught off guard, and this is why I think script analysis is so important. So if you guys haven't joined the Discord yet, there's the link. I'm going to give about 10 minutes for my Discord peeps to ask any questions if they have. If you are interested in the script analysis class, it is coming up this Saturday. So if all of this was something that you went, yeah, this is something I really want to learn. I want to figure out how to do it, especially where I was breaking down. Sometimes you have these grief periods. Sometimes you have these diction changes, and where they kind of reflect this, the consonant changes, how they tell you as a character. If you want to learn how to do all that, not why it's important, but how, the links for the class is in there. Please join the Discord if you guys have any questions. Jump into the lesson waiting room voice chat, and I'll drag you on over to talk. But with that, thank you all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Sebi, thank you for the 13-month sub. Wood, thank you for the gifted sub. Sweet Tune, y'all have been absolutely incredible. It should show in the link. If you click it, it'll ask you to set your time zone and everything so you can see what time. It says it's 3 hours. It's not 3 hours. Rachel done fucked up there and put the wrong. They make me put it in minutes. Okay, why did you think, scheduling system, that I could do math? What part of me gave you the impression I could do math? I don't know how many minutes is in a 2.5 hours or something. Oh my gosh! Flying Squirrel 90 with the tier 3 sub for 12 months. Just stopping by to say hi. Thank you, Fire Squirrel. Thank you. You guys have been incredible. Dab! Got it, Wood. You guys really, really have been amazing. If you don't know, just a heads up on some stuff. I will try and be streaming more starting in June, so we're getting there, where I'm almost caught up with this big voice acting project and getting there, and they have had the patience of saints with me trying to turn in everything. Now there's a helicopter outside. I don't know, everything's flying by. But I'm hoping to be able to stream more. We will be starting D&D on the YouTube channel, on the, not my voice acting, not the one this is, but my English, my gaming one. Remember I have a gaming channel? I remembered this week. So I'm going to try and go live on YouTube over there occasionally. And we will still be continuing the D&D campaign, but we're moving to Sunday nights. So 1 week from today, we're still figuring out exact times. You can join this Discord to figure out when we're posting it. Right now, we've got some voice actors like Finnegan Rose, Addylicious, Lone Wolf, everybody's been really amazing. Spoctor Who isn't a voice actor, but he's been hanging out a bit and causing chaos and stealing from churches. So, if you guys want to come see that and see what I set on fire, tune in next week, same time, same place. Thank y'all so much for hanging out, and I hope to see you later this week or on the Discord. My thing keeps crashing every time I try to go to my end screen. So let's find out if it crashes together. Bye, guys.